Hi, I'm Reb Myron. I'm a minister through Pathways of Light, and I've been a Course in Miracles student for 40 years. I'm going through the lessons this year asking Jesus for clarity, as I've done in the past, and then I'm writing from that clarity. And so that's what I'm going to share with you today. Let's get started. Our special theme for these lessons is what is the Holy Spirit? Don't forget to read that one again. Jesus asks us to do it every day. Okay, so we're looking at lesson 284. I can elect to change all thoughts that hurt. I can elect to change all thoughts that hurt. Loss is not loss when properly perceived. Pain is impossible. There is no grief that with any cause at all, and suffering of any kind is nothing but a dream. This is the truth at first to be, but said and then repeated many times, and next to be accepted as but partly true, with many reservations, then to be considered seriously more and more, and finally accepted as the truth. I can elect to change all thoughts that hurt, and I would go beyond these words today and past all reservations and arrive at full acceptance of the truth in them. Father, what you have given cannot hurt, so grief and pain must be impossible. Let me not fail to trust in you today, accepting but the joyous as your gifts, accepting but the joyous as the truth. Only our thoughts can hurt us. The only thing that can hurt us is our thoughts. We can believe ideas, and those ideas become true for us. This is what's happened to us, why it is that we think we're separate from God, living in a world as bodies. If we continue to believe in this fantasy, we will suffer from our thoughts, and we will continue to believe in pain, because we believe that we are bodies, and that bodies experience pain. We will believe we're separate and alone, and loneliness is painful. Bodies die, and we're left without the body we loved, and so we grieve our loss. But there's a way out of the world, and we do want out, even as we resist the simple process that we're given to free us. We can decide to change our minds about what we believe. We can change all thoughts that hurt. Because our thoughts are projected outward and seen by the body's eyes, we think our thoughts must be true and real. This is the error that makes the world possible. It is the error that keeps us coming back for more suffering. But the world is not cause. Our thoughts are cause, and they can change. We know we can change our minds. We do it all the time. For instance, I go for an ice cream cone intending to get vanilla. Once there, I choose Rocky Road instead because I changed my mind. I get married and then divorced because I changed my mind. It is easy to say that I believed one thing and then I believed something else instead. It didn't just happen. I decided. I chose to believe that I am a body living in the world of time and space. I believed that a certain amount of pain and loss was inevitable, and I thought there was no way out. But now I've changed my mind. Jesus has helped me to see this differently. He has convinced me to look deeper into myself and to find the truth. I still waver in the face of my past beliefs, of what my past beliefs have shown me. However, I can never go back to believing in the world completely. My process is described here exactly. This is a truth at first to be said and then repeated many times, and next to be accepted as but partly true, with many reservations, then to be considered seriously more and more, and finally accepted as the truth. I have one problem. I think I'm no longer in God. My problem is that I think I'm different, that I'm not what God created. This means that I believe I changed creation. Everything else stems from that one thought and that I decided to believe. All the pain I've ever suffered was because I believed this thought. All the loss I ever felt was because I believed this thought. This thought of separation from God is not true, and I can elect to change my mind about what I believe. Most of the time, I feel detached from the body and the world, but then something here pulls me back into the old beliefs. My child is sick, or someone I love dies. This body feels pain, or I forget something important. I feel a stab of fear that my brain is failing me. There's a hurricane warning, and I feel tired at the thought of going through all that again. Some lingering belief in the world's reality rises to the surface and grabs my attention. It's okay, though, because while part of the mind is interested in these phenomena, I know that they're not true. No matter what appears on the screen of my mind, I have one overriding desire. And I would go beyond these words today and past all reservations and arrive at full acceptance of the truth in them. I am meant for joy, not pain. And I pray that today I choose to believe only that which brings me joy. I pray for support as I continue to make the choice for God over and over until I accept nothing else. Well, this morning I was insane. I woke up with my mind on a simple task to complete, but it was one that I haven't done before. It loomed before me like a rocky landscape, filled with pitfalls and dangers of all kinds, which is insane. I have no idea if this was going to be difficult, but once I stepped into the ego mind, I lost all sense of reality. Well, not all sense. I had lost my peace, and the peace of God is always my only goal, so I knew what to do. I looked at the chaos in my mind and grabbed the first untrue thought that I recognized as causing me distress. It was projection. I was projecting blame for my upset on everyone involved, which is just plain silly. That realization helped me regain my footing. Then I was able to see other thoughts, such as thoughts of distrust. In examining these thoughts, I realized that they were unfounded, just me dragging the past into the future without even slowing down at the present. So I let myself linger for a while in the present moment, where it turns out nothing was happening, just a lot of thoughts. I turned to Jesus with an open mind, knowing he would guide me. I thought he would guide me in knowing what to do in this unfamiliar territory so that I could deal with it more easily. But instead, he led me to Facebook, to a post describing someone else's miracle. Jesus, you're a genius. Thank you. Reading about how she found her answer as she told Jesus she was willing, and then letting him lead her to the root cause was just what I needed to hear. He led me to another post that further encouraged me, as it was acknowledging the miracle. My mind is now clear, and I hear Jesus reminding me to listen to a talk by Kevin Kavanaugh that I had been putting off. So that's next on my agenda. Jesus answers us in many ways according to what we will be open to hearing at that time. What we can depend on is that he will answer. Being open to hearing is our part. Being willing to follow his guidance is our part. Jesus then did something that made me laugh. He led me to my own writing. Once an article I write is published, I often read it. Mostly I do this because by the time it's published, I've forgotten what I wrote. I read a recent article I wrote for Pathways of Light Quarterly magazine. In this article, I was exploring what it is I want more than the peace of God. I discovered that thoughts of wanting something in the world took me out of my peace. Here is a part of that article. I was at peace until I passed a mirror and thought I just had to lose some weight. Just like that. I was no longer at peace. Many others followed that thought. I wondered what to do about my body and what it means that I'm having so much trouble losing weight. I started thinking about what I ate that day that I shouldn't have. At that moment in which I decided that I need to lose weight, I lost peace. or that my body identity, the image I present to the world, and that think of as me, became what is more important to me. I was no longer at peace. Now let me just maybe correct that just a little bit. At the moment in which I decided that I need to lose weight, or I can't be happy, that's what causes me to lose my peace. This idea that I need something in order to be happy. Something outside myself. And another time, I was at peace until I wished my son would call me or that I could visit him. Then I felt sad and lonely, and my mind thought up a special relationship story about this, and off and running. I had been happy and at peace, and had a simple thought of missing my son. I didn't think how much I loved my son, which would not have disturbed my peace, and would have in fact brought me more joy. Instead, I thought he should be here with me, that I would be happier if he were here. I wanted the world to be different so that I could be happy, and in that thought, I was no longer at peace. So this is what I did. I saw that when these stray thoughts came into my mind and I found myself wanting something besides peace, I immediately lost that wonderful, joyful peace. I reminded myself that the peace of God is everything I want. So I asked the Holy Spirit to heal my mind of the belief that anything else could make me happy. I didn't try to stop missing my son. I instead asked for healing and began to anticipate that healing. I'm watching my mind and my feelings to see what it's like to feel only love for him and no need at all. I didn't try to stop caring about how I looked. Instead, I started watching for a change, not knowing what that would look like, assuming it would be a change that does not leave me feeling guilty and afraid. In fact, I anticipated feeling free. How that occurred or what it looked like was not my business. My desire for this healing is my part. The rest is for the Holy Spirit, and he does not need my help. Pain is impossible. This one's harder to accept. I understand that emotional pain is impossible unless I think it into existence, and even then it's not real, just a bad decision. I can always choose again now, though sometimes it takes me a while to do so. Physical pain is more difficult for me. I can see it's not really different since pain is just a thought in the mind, but that doesn't always translate into something useful for me. I've watched pain disappear as I refuse to acknowledge it as real, and other times I've tried and failed to succeed. What I do know is that this has nothing to do with the pain itself, but it's a failure to communicate. I have failed to hear the voice for God and have tried to allow that voice to communicate the truth through me, and have failed to allow that voice to communicate the truth through me. I continue to practice this truth though. When I have physical pain, I ask myself what this is, and I answer with conviction, this is nothing. Sometimes I allow that to penetrate and the pain disappears. Sometimes not. The dream is a dream, and I am safe while I dream, because I am not the dream but the dreamer. To the degree I can detach from the dream, I do not suffer. Something happens in the dream, and I experience it and let it go. It washes over me in its passage, and so I feel it. But knowing it is not real and that I am real, I don't hold on to it with my thoughts about it. So I had a pain in my neck last night. I tried to remember that it was nothing, just a dream of pain, but it continued and got worse, so I took something for it, even as I acknowledged its unreality. Thus, I got a dose of muscle relaxants for my neck and a dose of truth for my mind. That done, I took my attention away from the phantom pain. It doesn't help anything to focus on thoughts that are hurting me. I think that one day, because of this consistent practice, and because of other practices that bring me closer to knowing my true self, I will simply remember the truth and that I have no further use for pain, and it will disappear. Because as Jesus has told us, forgive, and this will disappear. So I forgive the idea of pain, and it disappears. I have seen it happen many times now, just not consistently. I think it is inconsistent because fear of pain keeps me from letting it go. Since I keep thinking about it, it continues to exist for me. Maybe I will finally let it go. Maybe not. Either way, what I am, what I truly am, cannot experience pain. And what I am is the only reality. And this is Regina's tips on this lesson. She says, as the teachings of Inner Ramana say, this is as simple as living from within instead of from without. If we look at the world as a movie or a play, we can also say that it has two directors. One director is the ego. When the actor is too caught up in the play of the world, the ego shouts its directions and the actor blindly follows. This actor has forgotten that the play is a play and believes that she is affected by everything that is happening. The other director is intuition. In order to hear this quieter director, who whispers instructions quietly from within the actor must remember that she wants to hear the director's instructions. To do this, the actor must be focused within rather than on the play. Certainly, there is awareness of the play, but the actor is turned inward to discover what she has to say, do, not say or not do, as the script of the play unfolds. The thoughts that hurt come from the ego. The thoughts that rise up from belief that we are affected by the world, they are thoughts that rise up from the belief that we are affected by the world. In order to change all thoughts that hurt, we must change directions and directors. Instead of being focused outward, we change direction and focus inward. Always inward. Outward results in fear and suffering. Inward realizes wisdom, peace, and trust. And my thoughts about this. I do believe this world is an illusion, a thought form that exists only in my mind. And yet I can still get caught up in the story and the emotions the story elicits. And then it can be hard to remember the truth, though not often and never for long. I depend on these lessons in the courses I give, and in giving, take for myself, and on meditations and processes and whatever it is that helps me to stay centered and anchored in the truth. All of these things direct me inward to my thought director, the Holy Spirit. I might get caught up in the emotions, but I never stay in the thought process that has me looking outward for a solution. I hope that you enjoyed this, and if you found it helpful, then please like it, and if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. Thanks so much for being here with me today, and I'll be back tomorrow with another lesson.